Hi, this is Coach Steve. You are listening to the Lake Forest Podcast.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters: Matt A., Elizabeth C., Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C. And shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop and Captain Mike's in Kenosha, the Greentown Tavern, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan. Coach Steve, welcome to the Lake Forest Podcast, and with Joe Weiss joining us today.
I've never played hockey in my life, but I'm a great armchair hockey player watching from home.
So, Coach Steve, you are the leader, the coach of the Lake Forest Hockey Club. Is club the right word?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the hockey director for the Lake Forest High School Hockey Club. And thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you just finished. You're in the middle of finishing up your spring season, right?
Yes, correct. We are about halfway through our spring season and right before June.
You guys are pretty good, huh?
There's a lot of talent in Lake Forest. Yeah, it's a pretty good group of kids. We have a lot of kids, actually, around 75 in the spring. So it's growing, a lot of talent in the area.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you're a Wisconsin guy, right?
I am. Grew up north of Milwaukee, about half hour west Bend. Hey there.
I was going to say,
Southern
you got any
Canada.
problems to a couple of fibs?
The Brats, we love the Brat Stop, man.
Oh, great place.
Kenosha rocks. So, Coach, tell me about the club. Like, are all the high schools clubs? Is it like an actual? I don't want to say actual, but like the basketball team. It's like a line item in a budget. Does anybody give you any money? You got to hustle for your money, don't you?
We're correct. All the high schools in the state. There's only one that's actually affiliated with the school, and that's Stevenson. The rest are technically club. And completely independent of their schools. They may get recognized by their schools. Our kids get recognized for, varsity letters and participation in hockey through the school. But we are completely club-based, I guess you could call it.
Why is that? Like in Wisconsin, what's it like in Wisconsin or Minnesota where it's more, Canada?
Yeah. Wisconsin does it a little differently. They do a before and after season, they call it. So a lot of their kids, all their kids will play in different clubs from September through October, and then they go to their high schools. And then after their season is over, they come back and play their after season with their club team. So their high school season is much shorter. They only play about 20 some games. It's just a different setup than what we do here.
Joe, Steve has to hustle for his money. When it comes time for your Christmas tree, Joe, or your holiday tree, I hear Steve has a nice bushel of trees come around that time. Is that true, Steve?
We have quite a lot of trees. Yes. The Scouts hockey tree sale fundraiser has been with the club for, I believe, almost 50 years now. So there's a great base of people that have bought their trees from the Scouts for many, many years, and the kids have to sell them. And if they sell enough, they actually can earn commission to pay off their own fee for hockey. And there's a couple kids that sometimes do that.
These fundraisers like this are like you just talked about, are a real important thing to help offset those costs, and also get people engaged in the community. People can show community support, so that's great. Well, anyone needing a Christmas tree this December or November, how do they get that? Do you guys they go on your website, or how does that work?
Yeah, it'll all be on the Scout Hockey website. And actually people get contacted. So if you've bought a tree in the past or anything in the past, they recycle those. A kid will get a book of leads, and then when they're seniors, they recycle them back down to the freshmen. And they actually reach out to these people and call them, write them letters. I've heard some kids actually have gone and put all their equipment on, and not their skates, but put everything on in their helmets, and they walk around door to door to their lead list and knock on doors. And I said, if you're going to put all your equipment on, I pretty much guarantee somebody's going to buy at least a wreath or a tree off you for sure. But the tree sales are very entertaining. There's all hands on deck. It's parents, it's kids. It's incredible how many trees and Christmas wreaths and whatever it is moves. And the kids do a lot of this themselves. So they'll actually load the trees in their trucks and drive them to people's houses. And if you want, you can
delivery.
Oh yeah, we deliver everything. And we actually set it up. So if you want it set up in your house, they'll bring it in. They'll cut off the.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, it's really awesome, because then you have a bunch of high school kids in these houses, people's houses with these big trees, maneuvering through these houses. We've had some interesting things happen. We've had a kid start a chainsaw in someone's house to cut their tree. So it's quite entertaining.
Life lessons.
Yeah. And we also do part of the being part of the club as the kids, you got to volunteer. So we do what's the Fill a Heart. So we do that. So they're actively involved in the community. I actually have I always get a bunch of seniors, or some juniors sometimes, but and pull them over to the winter club, and they help coach the little kids for the season. So they're constantly on the ice, actually, some of these kids, and they put in a lot of time to be part of the club.
Do you play over at Winter Club? And do you do anything at the college? Because I'm guessing it's Winter Club, and then you have the charity event that you do at the college.
The charity event, what are you referring to?
I'm looking at my notes here, and I'm thinking, GLASA, GLASA. Is that you guys, or do you play a role in that at all?
Yeah, so we donate to GLASA every year.
Okay.
Just to the club. I'm actually the hockey director at the Winter Club as well.
Okay.
So there's, a good relationship there with both clubs, where we can maneuver for ice, or, like I said, get these high school kids involved in coaching. And it's actually really great. The kids come in and they coach the 6-year-old kids, and it's pretty entertaining, actually, because they're like, that was you. That kid driving you nuts right now, that was you.
Yeah.
They learn quickly,
Youth hockey, my son is a senior in high school, so he's 18 years old. The Blackhawks won the first of those 3 Stanley Cups in the Kane Tays era, which unfortunately has come to a halt now, but first one in 2010. And I remember there was just this sudden surge of interest in youth hockey because of the Blackhawks finally winning a Stanley Cup after all those years, that first one in 2010. And now those kids, my son tried it for a while, just it wasn't the sport for him. He went the baseball route instead. But those kids are now the kids you're coaching, that age group, that grew up watching Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews and those great Blackhawks teams of the 2010s. Talk about how youth hockey has grown here in Illinois and the interest in it, and particularly with Lake Forest.
Yeah, we're seeing that boom is coming to an end, unfortunately. The the numbers are going to be lower in the next 2 to 3 years. A great example, I mean, we have 26 seniors for this next season for the Scouts, which is kind of unheard of, to have that many seniors. 3 years ago, I had 18, which was a ton. So, that you're right, that group is going to be graduating in the next year or two here. And we need to keep new kids coming into the program. We do, Winter Club, we do learn to skate, we do learn to play. Other clubs in the area do the same thing. So we're still trying to get that base up. But it definitely does help when the Blackhawks were winning, for sure.
So hopefully the Blackhawks, this rebuild will be good, and we won't wait another 50 years for a Stanley Cup like they did before 2010.
Yeah. But I think the Winter Club should be picking up because we had 1,400 new people moving into the area over the last couple of years, and the preschools, the grade schools are starting to get packed up. Are you seeing any requests for the, what do you call them, Squirts?
So yeah, well, the youngest is Might, and then Squirt, Peewee, Bantam, and then high school or midget. But yeah, there has been an increase with the families moving up. A lot of families moving up from the city post-COVID, and I mean, we're growing at the club. The member families have gone up, so that's great to see. The organization in Illinois, NIHIL, Northern Illinois Hockey League, it's one of the biggest in the country as far as the amount of kids involved. So there's a great opportunity still for kids to get into hockey and play. So we're doing everything we can to try to get as many involved.
Now, what's a cost to have an outfit? That's not even right. The uniform, you got a helmet, you got skates, you got all that padding. What does it cost to outfit a Mite?
So if you were gonna go, well, a lot of people go to like Play It Again down in Northbrook, who has a good selection of stuff, and they get it cheap. Just to make sure the kids like it. But head to toe, $150, $200 probably, depending on where you get it. It's not bad if you look in the right spots. It's really not too bad.
And look, I don't know anything about hockey. I was there when the Hawks won, and I watched the last game of the Stanley Cup, and that was it. So, but I have seen a lot of action with the sticks. Is there your hockey stick, is that like a baseball bat where that's your own and you wax it down and tape it up? What's the process of grooming a stick, Coach Steve?
Well, the parents don't like it when the kids whack those $300 sticks over the boards, I'll tell you that. But
oh, really?
Yeah,
it's not like aluminum baseball bats where you can keep using them.
No, they're very light, and if you hit it over the boards, and then anything really, I mean, if you hit it hard enough, they break actually quite easily. But when you're playing, if you're using it right, it's pretty durable. But they're expensive. And yeah, you have your own sticks. We always want kids to have 2, possibly 3. And they tape them up after every game, every other game. A lot of kids are, in their own heads about it. It's their own thing, right? So they probably tape it every day. I don't know. Some of them don't tape it at all. It's very strange.
What are the rules with the youngins, the mites and the squirts versus the older players? What can or cannot can you slam a little kid into? Can two little kids just go at it and slam it in the boards, or is checking allowed?
No. So mite, squirt, and peewee, there's no checking.
Okay.
And so they start checking when they get into Bantam, which is seventh and eighth grade. Sometimes some freshmen in high school are still Bantam. But Bantams, they start checking. They changed that rule maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, where it was Peewees was checking, and now it's moved to Bantams. They were seeing a huge decrease in the kids quitting after squirts because checking was starting in Peewees. So they decided USA Hockey, the governing body of every organization in the country, pretty much is decided that Bantams is the best place to start checking. And not everybody agrees with that because
like Canada.
Yeah, Canada's kind of an check. They don't, it's not open ice checking, it's angling, it's it's not these kids running each other over. That's not the goal.
Right.
But what happens is these kids get to Bantams and they're bigger, they're stronger, they're older, and they don't really have the necessary skills to start checking with their strength. And a lot of these kids are kind of scared, gun shy, and then the ones that aren't are kind of not doing it properly. So I would like to see it in Peewee's a little younger to get them acquainted with it, but those are the rules. But there's no checking in mites. That would be, they do that enough on accident.
so what are the typical I played football. I know what the typical injuries are in football. Are there any like we had to tape our ankles? Do you tape your ankles in hockey, or what's the what do you get? What are the bumps and bruises in hockey?
I would say a lot of upper body type injuries, shoulders. We had a kid break his collarbone 2 nights ago. A lot of shoulder stuff, collarbones, wrists. Because the sticks. I mean, there's so you get slashed.
I'm sure you're falling and you're trying to brace yourself, and then what would be the crossovers? But what would be the crossover? Because we don't want to talk about injuries. That's not going to help. But what are the crossover sports? Is it lacrosse? Like, do you get like two sport?
Yeah, we get a lot of lacrosse players. And I encourage I think playing multiple sports is great. A lot of coaches in the area here don't necessarily agree with that. But it's, going to make you better by doing more things and being more athletic and getting involved. So it's going to help their conditioning definitely with lacrosse, and it's a physical game. So it's good for them.
You got all these seniors coming up. Any of them going to get any rides anywhere or assistance?
You mean after?
Yeah.
So the way hockey works is it's very rare that a kid coming out of high school would go to, let's say, an NCAA Division I or Division III program. There's junior hockey that's after high school that you kind of need to play to be able to play NCAA. So no, they will have to. There will be a couple kids that will play junior hockey after to try to continue their hockey careers.
Is it like a preferred walk-on? Like, how does Michigan or Minnesota where do they get their hockey players from, the colleges?
I mean, they're recruiting all the time, obviously. So they're looking at, these top end junior leagues like the USHL, so they call it the NAL, the NAHL. Those are the tier 1 and the tier 2 junior leagues. So those are where, primarily a lot of the Division I kids are coming from.
Where's the location of that?
The league?
Yeah.
It's like all over.
So it's national.
Yeah.
But like, are there any, like, where do the Illinois kids go to the next level? Like, how does it, work?
Well, I mean, they try to participate in the development camps in the area and then move up from there and get noticed. A lot of the kids, the higher AAA kids would be the high end level kids. They're getting recruited pretty consistently. If they're good and their teams are good. So
Steve, you've won a few championships here. I'm looking at your bio, and you've had some pretty good success with your teams. Let's talk about some of the stuff you've won.
So this is my 6th season here with the Scouts, and the first season I came in, we won the league, the North. That's the Illinois High School Hockey League in the North Central Division. And we won the league championship against New Trier in a best-of-3 series, and we won the second game in a shootout. So it was that was a huge thing for the club, for the kids, and kind of set the precedent for the future for these past 5 years. And it's been going well. We've had a lot of success throughout all the teams. When I started here, it was 2 teams. And for the last 3 seasons, we've had 3 teams. And for this next season, we're going to have 4 teams. So we're growing. We're, having success. And I think, it's attracting some more kids.
First year winning a championship. That's pretty high bar. What's the difference between Lake Forest and Barrington? The players, or kids are kids?
No. I think, I coached in Barrington for a while. I think the kids here are honestly, I think they're more respectful here.
I hate those Barrington kids. We'll edit that on post.
So we won't be hosting a Barrington podcast anytime soon here, I guess.
Damn straight we won't.
Yeah, Barrington was interesting. Let's say that. There was good people everywhere I've coached, right? But the Lake Forest parents and the kids are, down to earth. They're logical. You can talk to any of them. They're not, there's not much entitlement. It's a great group.
Do you get any crazy, I shouldn't say crazy parents. Do you have any passionate parents that show up to the games and are very enthusiastic?
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Then you're prepared with an answer.
I would say that I set a tone at the beginning of the year where we sit together in a meeting and I say, don't talk to me as the coach. I don't care about you. I care about your kids. And if they're willing to, they have to be able to let go. We have, open door policy with the coaches. The kids can, contact us at any time. We'll sit down with any of them to discuss anything. So, the best thing I can see is I had a parent at a previous club. I coached at Lake Zurich, Mundelein and Wakanda for a little while. And I had a parent that I never even knew he existed. I coached his kid for 4 seasons, and he came up after the banquet of his senior season. He said, thanks, shook my hand and said, I'm Brett's dad. Thanks for everything. And that was it. So there's,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's, there's a no contact policy, right? But if something comes up, kids are in trouble at school, or there's something going on, obviously we'll talk to parents. But when it comes to hockey related things, it's like, let them deal with it. They're growing up. If they're going to fail, you want them to fail now while they're at home.
Yeah. And
you can be there for them. So
there's a great sign. You've probably seen it at local ice arenas. They put up for the parents, and maybe we can get a copy of it. Pete can put it up when we do air the podcast. But it has like little things like the refs are volunteers. Encourage, don't boo, encourage great play by both teams. And I remember the last line of it says, "Your kid does not play for the Blackhawks." And it was kind of like, hey, this is supposed to be fun. This is, you want to win, you want to be competitive. But youth sports is a lot more than just winning championships.
Yeah. And one of the big issues with hockey in the state currently is officials. There's, there's a shortage. I mean, it's growing again. Where there's more in the last 2 years, and obviously it was really, really low. And I actually got my certification as a ref because we were not getting refs to the games. So, I keep my stuff in the car, and all of a sudden we'll show up to the game and there won't be refs. And
Get the whistle.
You go to these games, and some of these parents from, we discussed this in our parent meeting, that we don't yell at refs from the stands as parents. As the coaches, you're trying not to yell at the refs, but at some point you have to stand up for your own team, and you can't take everything all the time. So the parents understand that we're constantly kind of working with the refs as well. But some of these stories, with refs, and it's crazy. Sometimes I don't understand why refs want to be refs, but they're needed. So
yeah,
that's one.
My son is a baseball umpire.
Which has got to be worse.
Oh, he's got some stories. We could do a podcast with him. I mean, parents now they'll be recording every second of the game with their iPhone, and if they don't like the call, they'll run to the umpire and try to show them, hey, look, I've got the replay. We're gonna do instant replay here, like they do for pro sports, and it's just crazy. So, but I think it for him, and maybe some of these refs, he's going to go into the business world and be very good at conflict resolution because of his experience as an umpire or a ref. But talk about what youth sports in general and hockey. Obviously most of these kids are not going to even play for a Division I college team, let alone an NHL team. But so what do you get out of it? Playing youth hockey is if I'm looking for something for my young child to go into, what's in it to help my kid become an adult from their hockey experience?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things with the high school that's really important, is these kids' ability to work together, as a team, and kind of use those lessons moving forward. A lot of the kids, when they're younger and they come into the program as freshmen, there's a lot of chest pumping, right? Like they want to show that they're the best. They want to, kind of assert their place on the team or in the club. And by the time they're juniors and seniors and they're on varsity, that goes away, right? They've learned the process of how to deal with being on a team. Who's the captain? Who's going to run this? Like, you can't just be saying and doing whatever you want. I mean, these are lessons that they'll take, like you're saying, into the future, and
character. Yeah.
Hopefully that helps them.
Well, Coach Steve, how can we help you? We're gonna sell you some trees. Okay, number one. We're gonna find.
He's gonna have one right there in the studio this Christmas, right background in his studio there in his basement.
Well, yes, because if the kids are going to come in, I can just see them back in the trunk through the window, but that'd be fantastic. But that'll be like after the fall league. When does the fall league start? Because you're in the middle of spring, so you're going to have people coming out. Talk to us about fall, because we're going to bring you back then.
Oh, I get to come back?
Hell yeah. Oh. You're a fun guy.
This is not a one-time. This is like the Hotel California, this show. Once you check in, you can never leave.
We start in August in the middle. Well, we skate all summer. So we have 2 a week skates, which is just drop in whoever wants to come. And those are big indicators, obviously, for the fall, who's committed, who's not. And we do utilize those things to kind of make decisions once in a while. But we have tryouts, I believe, the weekend after school starts, so around the 20th or so of August.
Okay.
And tryouts are super intense. We do they do on ice, off ice Friday night. So they come to the rink, we divide them up, and they do off ice, which is they all have to run a mile under 7 minutes. They have to do all these
with their skates on.
Yeah, with their skates on. Yeah. We
I'm
send
out.
And they're on off ice. They have to do the mile. They have to do these, a certain amount of push-ups or everything.
Yeah.
and then they come to the rink. We do on ice, and we don't really bring pucks out for that first session. We do a lot of skating. And we do that Friday night, and then we do it again Saturday, twice on Saturday. They're on the ice twice Saturday. They do 2 off ice sessions Saturday, and then Sunday we skate again. So each off ice, they're running the mile. They're doing all their fitness exercise. They're doing that twice a day on Saturday, plus their 2 on ice sessions Saturday, and then Sunday as well. So it's tough, and it's hard on these kids, and they got to be ready. If they sit on their ass all summer, it's noticeable. It's clearly noticeable. So we start in August.
This isn't lacrosse.
Yeah, right.
Wait till we do the lacrosse show with their coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then after tryouts, we start with a little preseason tournament right after Labor Day. And then we're practicing and starting league games probably mid-September.
And these kids that want to learn more, these parents want to learn more, especially all these people who just moved in. You got a pretty nifty website. Is that scouthockey.com, Coach Steve?
Yes. And for all the new people out there, wchockey.org is the other website. So you can get
Winter Club?
Yeah, that's for Winter Club, for the for people interested in learning to skate, learn to play.
Got it. All right, we'll hook you up with that, Coach Steve. Coach Steve, thank you so much for coming on the Lake Forest podcast.
Oh, it's been great. Thank you guys so much.
Great, Coach. Have a great season.
The Lake Forest podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Looking for the best pool supplies? Look no further than Dohany's Pool Supplies. With a history dating back to 1967, this family-owned business offers everything families need to keep their pools clean and sparkling, from chemicals to equipment. Plus, customers enjoy free shipping on all orders. Visit Dohany's Pool Supplies today at doheny.com, DOHENY.com, to learn more. Forest Bluff Real Estate Team serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and of course Michelle Parnell. Get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest's own Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters: Matt A., Elizabeth C., Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C. Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop and Captain Mike's in Kenosha, the Greentown Tavern, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan.